Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. So go figure, Amazon seems to have a Nazi problem. Actually, the problem it seems to be having, at least in certain circles, is it's getting rid of the Nazi problem. Here's how the story goes. It was in the New York Times the other day, and basically what has happened is Amazon has decided to not sell certain kinds of books. Like, it's not going to sell books by David Duke, former leader of the Ku Klux Klan here in America. It's not selling books by George Lincoln Rockwell, who was the founder of the American Nazi Party. It's not selling titles like, I'll make sure I get this right, The Ruling Elite, The Zionist Seizure of World Power, and A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind. These are not, according to Amazon, prime material. Now, I don't know that anybody of any repute is actually defending the right of white nationalists or racists or Nazis or anti-Semites to have their books out there in bookstores like Amazon. But there are questions being raised about what kind of criteria Amazon is using when it decides what books to carry and what not to carry, and its broader transparency about its policies in this case. Because the problem is Amazon, I guess, is not really providing specifics about either. Okay, suddenly they're just not there. It's also become a bigger problem even on the Amazon marketplace because they have to live up to the same rules that Amazon applies to its own retail section. But if Amazon's not going to be specific about which kinds of books it's not going to carry and what the criteria are, it makes it a little difficult for the marketplace third-party retailers to live up to Amazon's rules. Now, I find some of this to be a little bit amusing. It shouldn't be too hard to figure out what kinds of material are like by white nationalists or Nazis or racists or anti-Semites. It's not that hard to figure out. I also have no particular problem with Amazon deciding what stuff it's not going to sell. It doesn't sell porn, right? I mean, most retailers, whether you're selling cars or refrigerators or shoes or shirts or whatever it happens to be, they curate their selections. I have absolutely no problem with that. It becomes a bigger issue for Amazon because it always pitched itself as the everything store, but maybe it's not going to have everything. But I have no particular problem with that. And I like the idea that Amazon is actually taking a look at this stuff and not selling materials that spew hatred. I wish more social media sites would actually do the same sort of thing. And this isn't about politics. This is about decency. This is about tolerance. This is about compassion. This is about being intelligent. This is about not being a racist, right? I have no problem with this. But there is one thing that Amazon does with which I disagree. So apparently when you go to, let's say you want to go look for a book by David Duke, what you might come up with is a picture of one of Amazon's employees' dogs. And they call these dog pages, and basically they put them wherever there happen to be a dead end, right? And so that's what they do. They put the picture up there. Now, a couple of problems here. First of all, I don't know that I would want my dog's picture, my puppy, the puppy's asleep right there. I don't know that I'd want his picture to show up when somebody's looking for a book by the former grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, they want to take a picture of the stuff that Spencer leaves out in the yard for me every once in a while and put that on there. That's fine because that seems a lot more appropriate. But I actually think what Amazon ought to do is actually ought to publish essays in those sections instead of dog pictures and explain why those things are objectionable. I think they ought to be transparent about it. I mean, in some ways you can create a conversation. Now, I'm not sure those things are going to change anybody's minds, but those essays would be important. And besides, it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.